Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to another Mind Bomb training video. Today's video I want to talk to you about quality management systems, so understanding quality management systems and in particular ISO9001. You might think, what on earth am I doing wearing this ridiculous shirt? Well, I know that the quality management systems generally are quite a mind-numbing topic, so I thought I'd wear the brightest shirt I could find today and try and keep you with me. So if you're struggling, if you find yourself drifting away at any point, get back, focus on the shirt, and hopefully then I can carry you with me all the way through. And I'll tell you, it will actually be worth your while. I've split this into two videos. So the first one is just about understanding the subject, so getting to grips with the principles. The second one, which hopefully will be a bit easier going, that is all about how small businesses can actually use the principles of the quality management systems to drive the business forward, to actually keep growing and to expand and push the business forward. So I hope that today you'll be able to bear with me and just get the basics, get to grips with the basics of it. And yeah, this is the reason for the shirt. Hopefully you'll find it useful at some point along the way. And I warn you now, it is going to get a bit dull at other points. So might be a good time to put me on pause at the moment. Get yourself a strong coffee, make sure you've got bright lights on and that you're wide awake, ready to go through it. Just keep focused for 10 minutes or so and I guarantee you it'll definitely pay off. So just as a bit of background to start with, firstly, where did we get today's quality management systems from, and what really is the reasons for it. So where did we get the ISO and quality management systems in general? Where did they come from? Basically the answer is the military, US and UK military, going back 100 or more years. They discovered really that there was a dramatic need to make sure that things were standardized. So if you can imagine that, I've got two examples for you. One is I don't know if this actually happened, but the possibility for quality management systems to actually control certain products. So, for instance, if you're in the army and your artillery gun, all the guns may be made by one manufacturer. So you'd like to think that they'd all come out the same size and same strength and capability and so on of the materials that are used to make them. But the possibility is that there could be 10 or a dozen different suppliers making shells for those artillery guns, and every one of those suppliers needs to make sure that they make the shells exactly the right size, the right kind of explosives, all work to the same sort of markings to indicate what type of armament it is, and yeah, you've got to standardize that production. So that's really an example of where the army will have stepped in to standardize procedures and make sure that everyone works to the same exact guidelines. So you can imagine what the problem is if the shell's just too wide and that's the only ones that you've got when the enemy's charging over the hill. Then you want to be sure that you're going to be able to fire the weapon at the right time when you need it. The second example is slightly different. I suppose that's an example of a manufacturing system. Make sure that the manufactured product that comes out at the end is exactly the same, irrespective of who's making it. The second one is slightly different. It's the example I would give is where in the early days of the Air Force, then it was a key issue with trying to make sure that the planes were reliable. And yeah, the early version of the Air Force in the UK and the US found very quickly that they needed to log everything that the aircraft had actually done. So they created the log of hours, any problems that the aircraft had come across, and then integrate that with a servicing schedule to make sure that all of the aircraft are getting serviced at the same regular intervals and the work's carried out to a certain standard. And again, that would improve the efficiency and reliability of the aircraft. And basically they're available when you actually need them. So all of that servicing and record keeping has to be formalised. and that is what I would describe as an example of a service quality management system. So it's probably what most companies are more familiar with today, is describing routines of how the services should operate and how that will then affect the capability for the aircraft at the end. So those are the two examples I pulled out from the early days of when the military realised that they needed to standardise their procedures. So if we come up to date, today International Standards Organisation is an international non-profit organisation based in Geneva. So the idea is that they have members in, I think it's now 165 countries. So they have a member in each country that then controls what happens with the standards that are offered in those different countries. So it's very much a worldwide organisation, and they represent all of the behind them is all of the consultants and experts in the different areas, and they all coordinate things in a wide range of industries, actually, not just in the one that we're interested in at the moment. ISO 9001 is actually part of a family of quality management systems. So there's numerous different ISO systems to cover all sorts of things. They actually cover things like the bank and credit card transactions to make sure that all of the electronic systems are operating together smoothly and don't have any glitches between them. Right the way through to food safety. They have standards for food safety, and also for things like paper sizes. If you think about the different sizes of papers and specifications of papers, because obviously they all need to be put into machines at the end of the day, whether that's a copier or a printer or whatever it is. So you've got to make sure that things are interoperable, is how they would describe it. I'll actually put a link to their website. I mean, if you're interested, then you can get a lot more background about the International Standards Organisation, and yeah, hopefully it will actually give you an idea of why people work in this way and why it's actually considered beneficial. So let's look at ISO 9001 in particular. What is it and what does it do? The idea is that ISO 9001 is a service-based standard, so it can actually cover any kind of service industry. So not a manufacturing standard in the way that we described with the shells and the armament for the military in the early days, but it actually covers things like procedures about how you do things, and it's a means of creating a standard for your business. So what it should do is to evolve over the years and to help you with things like consistency, reliability, make sure that the business is working efficiently. So the end result should then become a much more quality focused result for whatever the product is. It doesn't matter to the standard what the product is, but to make sure that the company is to focus very much on the quality of what it does. So I believe the 2015 version now has more of a customer-facing focus. So the idea is that whatever you do, the customer has to be borne in mind along the way, and that way it makes sure that everyone treats the procedure in the same way to get the right end result for the customer. So okay, how are we doing so far? I hope you're still with me. If not, focus on the shirt, get focus back on the shirt, and that will bring you along with me to the end of the video. Let's just talk about what the standards should be able to do for your business. As I say, you focus on the pain point for the business and hopefully use that to improve what's happening in a specific area. But the general aim is to reduce errors, reduce duplication, reduce costs, and at the same time improve the efficiency of what you're doing, and make sure that the customer satisfaction is as high as possible. So it runs through a whole series of different areas within the business, and if you were to distill that down, what it should really do is to improve customer satisfaction, thereby boosting sales, boosting profits, and it should more than pay for itself if applied correctly. It might also open other doors for you as well. I recall one of the businesses that we were working with was supplying some of the larger retailers, and if you particularly want to go down that route, you'll probably find that you have to become ISO 9001 accredited before you can actually supply a lot of larger companies these days. So just having the accreditation can actually open doors for you as well, just so that you can even get on the supplier list before you can even think about it. I'm not actually suggesting, by the way, that everybody should rush out and become 9001 accredited. It's a long and can be fairly arduous process. So it's not really the suggestion here. As I say, I'll come back to what I would suggest most people use it for in a second video. But yeah, it's just really to make people aware that it can actually open doors in itself. So if that's what it can do, what does it not do? What can it not do? Well, there's a few things that it can't actually do. One is it won't actually come, you don't expect to get a set of rules that are basically written in tablets of stone. They're not handed down in tablets of stone and you just have to work to those rules. It does actually vary very much depending on the type of company you have, but it will give you a set of guidelines. It will give you the prompts to make sure that you're doing certain things within the business to actually improve the performance overall. It can't, obviously, it can't compare a baker's business with the wholesale business that we referred to earlier. There's no similarity between the way those businesses operate, but there can actually be similarities in the way the system can be applied, and that's really what it should actually aim to do. The other thing that it won't actually do is to automatically set you on a path towards accreditation. So there isn't a direct route through accreditation with the ISO body. If you want to become accredited, you have to actually deal with a third-party company that will then run assessments, help you develop the procedures and the standards that we're talking about, and they will become the body that will actually then give you the accreditation if they feel that everything is being applied across the business as it should. So realistically, if you wanted to become accredited, then I would suggest that you're going to need a quality management system champion within your business. You're going to need a manager that can actually lead the system forward. It's a lot of work to create with the different departments and the different staff. You've got to create your own standards effectively. So getting that set up in the first place is going to need at least one leader of a team to bring that forward, and some quite heavy involvement from the managers. Realistically, it's probably more than a 12-month process. So I think if you are considering it, then just make sure that you've actually got that space and time available, and someone that's going to be fairly clued up and bring the system together in the first place. Once that has been achieved, or if that has been achieved, then the other thing is it's not actually a static process. Obviously, businesses evolve, new systems come up, new departments can be involved. So the whole thing actually has to evolve as the business grows, and yeah, that's something else that you need to consider, whether you can actually keep that involvement going off into the future. It should become a very much integral part of the business, but it is also something else to consider, that it's not a static one-off approval. It is something that's regularly assessed, and you should actually be working to continually improve the business anyway. So I hope that you're still with me. Well done if you've managed to stay right the way through in one go. I hope the shirt's helped. It should actually keep you very much focused on what's happening. You can give your eyes a rest now. I'm getting towards the end. The whole thing with the QMS procedures obviously is a lot more involved once you get into the detail of it. But the thing for the small entrepreneurs, I just hope for small business people, make sure to watch the second video about the quality management system. I'm actually trying to link the way the system works with some ideas about how you can actually implement that in the smaller business. So really, if you want to drive your sales, if you want to grow your business, if you want to reduce the costs and duplication, all of those things that I mentioned before, really you need to watch the second one, and that will tell you very much how to apply it to the smaller business. Okay, so thanks for watching. It may have been a struggle to get through this one, but hopefully you stayed right the way through with me. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.